Welcome back to ZONEofTECH News, episode number 13 this time. Yes, we are back. There was an Apple event, there was a OnePlus event before that, so we didn't really get a chance to make a ZONEofTECH News episode. There was so many things to cover and not enough small things to cover, so all of those got a dedicated video, but now lots of stories to cover in this one. So welcome back to ZONEofTECH News, episode number 13. And in this episode, I'll be covering the Xbox 2 details. Yes, the Xbox 2 is now official, everything you need to know about that. Pixel 4 got leaked officially, so yeah, more about that in this video. Apple 5G, some updates on that, iPadOS, my recent experience, and then I found some really interesting things about the Mac Pro. So that's everything that I'm going to cover in this video. And if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe, notifications for more in-depth tech videos like this one is going to be. And if you're not new to the channel, also do consider tapping the bell icon because YouTube notifications have been really messed up recently. So yeah, by doing that, you also support the channel and videos like this one and all the previous ones that you've seen. So thank you. Oh, and just as a reminder, that iPod Touch giveaway, that's still going. So if you want to win that, an iPod Touch 7th Gen, the brand new one that just got announced by Apple like 2 weeks ago, just be a follower on our Instagram at ZONEofTECH and then leave a comment on this post, the one with the iPod Touch render, saying why do you want to win a model on iPod Touch 7th Gen and which color do you want to win. And I'll be announcing the winner on July the 1st via Instagram DM and stories. So yeah, good luck to everyone and now here's everything you need to know about everything interesting that happened over the past 2 weeks. Okay, so at E3 2019, just a few days ago, Microsoft has unveiled the brand new generation of Xbox consoles. Well, kinda. So they haven't said anything regarding the design, how this thing will look like. So here's our concept, by the way, the ZONEofTECH concept of the Xbox 2. And we don't know the name just yet, but we do know the specs, all the specs, and also the code name, which is Project Scarlet. Now you might recognize that codename Scarlet from the previous Xbox 2 Leaks and Rumors video that we've done back in January. So the Xbox One X was codenamed Project Scorpio, and then this Xbox, the brand new one, is codenamed Project Scarlet. Now, something really interesting about this Xbox is that if you guys remember from the previous Leaks and Rumors episode that we've done, there were 3 rumored models. Yes, not one Xbox, but actually 3 brand new Xboxes. So there was an entry-level model just for streaming, a mid-range model, and then a very, very high-end model. Now, the entry-level one for streaming, that has actually been announced and revealed and also released. So that's called Xbox One S All Digital. And it's basically an Xbox One S without the disk drive, that's it. We haven't really seen anything in terms of the mid-range, and it seems like the high-end, that one would be Scarlet. So I do believe that Microsoft has actually scrapped the mid-range version of the Xbox, just because, you know, developing more models of the Xbox, the next generation, would be very, very difficult for developers to develop games for those, because they have to optimize them for both, and obviously the highest-end one would be the one that they will develop the game on, and then they need to decrease the settings so that the game actually works with the mid-range model. So what about the specs? Well, these have all been confirmed by Microsoft. So in terms of the processor, we'll have an AMD Ryzen 3. By Ryzen 3, I mean 3rd generation. A lot of you have been so confused in the PS5 video, which I'll cover more about that in a second. But when I said Ryzen 3, I meant Ryzen 3rd generation processor. So this is still based on the Zen 2 architecture. So it's not Zen 3. It's Ryzen 3rd gen based on the Zen 2 architecture. And this is an 8-core processor based on a 7nm process. In terms of the GPU, we'll have an AMD Navy architecture GPU, also based on a 7nm process. And this will also support real-time ray tracing, which is crazy because we've had this on the RTX series from NVIDIA, the graphics cards for PCs and, you know, desktops, but we haven't had this on a console or even an AMD card as of yet. And apparently the new Xbox 2, or whatever this thing will be called, will support real-time ray tracing. This is basically insanely accurate shadows and reflections that will make your game look way closer to real life. And then Microsoft also said, and hear me out, this is crazy, so up to 8K resolution and also up to 120 frames per second. This is in 4K, not 8K 120, that'll be even more insane, but still 4K 120 and 8K resolution. And then Microsoft also talked a lot about the SSD. The fact that this will finally come with an SSD now, so no more spinning hard drives, and this will feature insanely fast loading times, which I'll talk more about that in a second. So some of you that have seen our previous video on the PS5 and all the specs might noticed something very similar. The fact that these are basically identical. We have the same Ryzen 3rd gen processor with the Zen 2 architecture. We have the same Navy GPU. we have the same real-time ray tracing support, the same 8K resolution on both, and the same 4K in 120, and also the same extremely fast SSDs. And it does make sense because, you know, they're both using the same AMD technology. Even if you take a look at the PS4 and the Xbox One, they had the exact same AMD Jaguar CPU. One of them just was higher clocked, and the same story was for the GPU. So AMD gives both Microsoft and Sony the latest tech that they have, and then Microsoft and Sony can tweak that to their liking. So for example, let's say Sony adds more video memory to the GPU, but Microsoft adds faster RAM and so on. So there will be some tiny differences between the two, tiny decisions that will give each console some advantages over the other. So in that case, how are they different? Well, interesting enough, Microsoft claims that the SSD inside the Xbox 2 will be 40 times faster than the hard drive on the current generation consoles. But Sony, however, Sony claims that the SSD inside the PS5 will be 10 times faster than the hard drive inside the PS4 Pro. Okay, what else? Well, the PS5 is said to have between 12 and 14 teraflops of GPU compute power, which this is insane, guys. This is absolutely insane. This is the equivalent of a Vega 64 GPU. That's insane in a console. And if you compare this to the 4.8 teraflops that the PS4 Pro had, yes, the PS5 would be 3.33 times more powerful than the PS4 Pro was. Not the PS4 Pro. However, Microsoft said that the new Xbox would be 4 times more powerful than the Xbox One X was, which already had 6 teraflops versus the 4.8 on the PS4 Pro. So the Xbox 2 should have 24 teraflops of GPU compute power, which I'm honestly very skeptical about. Very, very skeptical. So realistically, I think that it would be about a 0.5 teraflop difference between the consoles max. So I do think that the 4-time performance improvement that Microsoft mentioned also included the SSD improvements as well as the CPU improvements, not just the GPU. Also, something quite awesome is that you'll be able to use your Xbox 2 as a server for streaming your games anywhere you are. Now, the thing is, Sony already has this with PlayStation Remote, but yeah, it's finally coming to the Xbox. So when is this new Xbox coming out and the PS5 as well? Well, holiday 2020, this is what Microsoft said in terms of the new Xbox. And Sony also said that they'll release the PS5 towards the end of 2020 as well. So very likely just a few days from one another. Now, in terms of the price, we don't know yet. We have no idea in terms of the price. I would say around $500 for both, maybe a bit less for the PS5, but we'll find out in a year and a half. Let me know in the comments, which one would you guys pick? In reality, they would be identical, except for the biggest difference, which would be the games. That's, the exclusive games, that would be the biggest difference between the PS5 and the Xbox 2. And speaking of the PS5, in case you haven't seen our previous video on the PS5, we've done one just a few days ago. So check it out with all the details you need to know about the PS5. Next story, the Pixel 4 has been leaked by Google. Not a joke. This was leaked on purpose, by the way, so this is quite funny. So OnLeaks posted a few images this week with his renders on the Pixel 4. And OnLeaks has been extremely accurate before, so those were most likely the design, or at least one of the designs for the Pixel 4. And Google was like, if it's been leaked, we might as well just reveal it. So they posted this image. But there we go, the official Pixel 4 straight from Google. And it seems like we're going to have the exact same camera module, or at least the same camera module design as on the upcoming iPhone 11. But interesting enough, instead of this being a triple lens camera module like, on the iPhone 11, this will be a dual one. So yeah, it seems like Google will be once again behind the industry in terms of the hardware. Yeah, pretty much everyone will have triple lens camera modules this year, or everyone already has. But Google is going with 2 modules. Again, in the previous years, they had 1 module where everyone else had 2, but this year, they're increasing with 1 where everyone else is already ahead with another one. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think about Google's hardware so far. Also, speaking of the hardware, that dual tone back seems to be gone. I actually think that the dual tone back was one of the best parts about a Pixel phone. I really enjoyed that design. I really think it was amazing. So yeah, I'm quite sad to see that go away. Now, I don't think that this is the final design, so things might change. Also, we don't know anything about the front yet. The Pixel 3 XL was one of the ugliest phones ever released, at least when it comes to the front. Google needs to remove the notch, any bezels, and just take a few risks here and there. Otherwise, they'll always be behind everyone else in the smartphone industry. The camera is really good on Pixel phones, but that's actually because of the software, not because of the hardware. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the Pixel 4 myself a lot because the Pixel and Samsung phones, and now even the OnePlus 7 Pro, for example, these have been my favorite Android phones ever. And this is what I use pretty much every single year. I switch from Apple to Google, and then Samsung, and then now even OnePlus. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think about the brand new Pixel 4 leak. Next up, we have Apple 5G. So what do I mean by this? Well, remember the Intel and Apple 5G modem deal, how Apple was going to include Intel's 5G modems in the 2020 iPhones because they were having those lawsuits and disputes with Qualcomm? Well, after an unexpected agreement and settlement between Apple and Qualcomm, Intel announced that they dropped out of the 5G modem business entirely. So what happened was that Intel wasn't ready to deliver the modems by 2020 to Apple. The chips were underperforming, so Apple had to come to a settlement and work with Qualcomm instead. And now a report from The Information says that Apple plans on buying Intel's entire modem division in Germany, which could bring hundreds of modem engineers to Apple alongside many patents. And the reason why Apple is doing this is because they're actually working on their brand new 5G chip. So yes, Apple will be making their own 5G modems, but these will not be ready until 2025 at least. Now, a few updates that I want to talk about when it comes to iPadOS. So USB drives. A lot of you have asked me if USB drives actually work properly on older iPads with Lightning. And the good news is that yes, they do, but you need a fairly low power USB drive or hard drive. So if you want to plug in anything more powerful, you need to get an adapter that has a USB Type A port or whatever your hard drive uses, and also a charging port for Lightning or USB Type C. And you can buy that from Apple directly or even third-party ones, but Apple sells a pretty good one. And also, I do want to mention, iPadOS at the moment is very glitched. It's, beta 1, it's very glitched, so don't update at all. Unless you have a second iPad that you don't really need or use at all, then yes, go ahead, but otherwise, just don't. But yeah, it is a really big update in every single way, and I cannot wait to get this on my actual iPad. And now, when it comes to the Mac Pro, in our previous Mac Pro video, that 35 things you didn't know video, you can watch it here in case you missed it, I wasn't sure about one thing. And that was if you could actually connect any GPU you wanted to the Mac Pro, because one, the issue was I didn't really see that much space inside left, and two, I couldn't see any power connectors on the motherboard. For any, third-party GPUs. However, in the AR app, yes, you can go on Apple's website and enter the AR app and see how the Mac Pro actually looks like from the inside. I found that if you look on the left-hand side panel, there are some metal plates, and inside those plates, you have two 8-pin power connectors, and there are more plates like this on the board. So this basically means that yes, you can actually connect any third-party GPU that you want. Now, NVIDIA cards are not natively supported, but AMD ones are. Also, something else that I found is that if you use an Apple MPX module, these are actually awesome, by the way. They're going to be way more expensive, obviously, than buying a GPU yourselves. But what's really cool about those is that they also reroute the Thunderbolt 3 ports on the case itself. So this means that you can connect a 5K display on the top case's Thunderbolt 3 ports, and that would actually be connected directly to the GPU that way. So yeah, some really cool stuff. And finally, a few more updates that I want to talk about regarding our store. Yes, we launched a brand new store, or a store. It's not a brand new one. We never had one before, but this is ZONEofTECH.com/store. You can go there, you can check it out. It's actually going really well in terms of the visits. So our store got more visits in 2 days than our entire ZONEofTECH website since the beginning of the year when we launched it. And in case you don't know what the store is all about, instead of selling merch like others do, maybe we'll sell something in the future, so keep an eye on that. But at the moment, what we're selling is actual devices, so laptops, tablets, smartphones, actual physical devices that we have, and we don't really use that much, or we just got the boxes and the phones and we unboxed them and we used them for like a day or so. So yeah, almost brand new stuff or things that are in really good condition and we've used for a few weeks or a few months. And yeah, the store's been doing really well in terms of visits and views. It hasn't been doing that well in terms of sales. So we haven't really got any sales yet, by the way. And that's probably because, well, the main complaint was that we don't ship outside the UK. We only ship in the UK. And the second complaint was that the prices were too high. So we actually dropped the prices now, by the way, to quite a few items. But you see, the problem with the prices is that outside the UK, prices would seem really high due to conversion rates. And another reason why we don't ship outside the UK is that at the moment, you have to pay custom taxes. So when you pick up the product, we have to go to the post office and pay quite a bit to, take them out of the post office because they're international packages. So in that case, it would make them cost more if you bought them from the US than, buying, let's say, a brand new Apple or Google device, directly from Apple or Google. So we're trying to find a better way to ship to international buyers. So any suggestions on how we could bring you good prices to buyers outside the UK, I would love to hear those thoughts below. And also, we added a few more items to the store, so you can check those out. And let us know in the comments if you have any specific requests of things that you want to see in the store. Also, is there any ZONEofTECH merch that you're interested in? What custom items would you guys buy? yeah, let me know in the comments. But yeah, thank you for watching. Don't forget about the iPod Touch giveaway that I mentioned before. So just be a follower on Instagram at ZONEofTECH. Leave a comment on this post and I'll be announcing the winner on July the 1st, also on Instagram. And yeah, the subscribe notifications. If you're new to the channel, please do tap the bell icon because YouTube hasn't been sending out notifications. Yeah, not just recently, but yeah, that's how it works. So yeah, you need to have the bell icon enabled to get notified whenever a cool new video comes out. So yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for watching. I'm Daniel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. ZONEofTECH signing out. Cheers.